Build your dream, BYD. All right, so today we're going deep on BYD. This company isn't just making electric vehicles, they're really like shaking up the whole EV market, you know, giving Tesla a serious challenge.
Yeah, they are.
I think our listeners are really interested in this. Like, how are they doing this right? Challenging these giants by making electric cars affordable, but without skimping on the quality or all the cool futuristic features we love.
Well, BYD's story is a great example of just how fast things move in tech. Back in 2003, they were pretty much budget battery maker. Now, fast forward to today, they're the world's largest EV manufacturer. And, last quarter in 2023, they actually outsold Tesla in battery electric vehicle sales.
Yes.
It's huge.
It's huge. So passing Tesla, that's not just like a bragging rights thing. That really shows
Yeah.
that they've tapped into something big. And their global presence is really exploding too. Right? They're in over 60 countries already.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating is their strategy. They didn't go after the luxury market first like some of the other EV makers did. They focused on making EVs affordable for the everyday driver. And that, combined with this really rapid scale up in production, has kind of catapulted them to the top.
I have to ask about the Seagull. This little EV is making a lot of noise with its unbelievably low price, like almost 3 times cheaper than Tesla's most affordable option in China. I mean, that's practically the same price as a gas-powered car in some cases. Is this a game changer?
I think the Seagull is definitely shaking things up. It even has this kind of fun nickname, the Mini Lamborghini, which is a little nod to its designer, Wolf Edgar, who actually worked for Lamborghini. But,
Wow.
beyond that nickname, the Seagull actually offers a surprising amount of luxury and tech for an entry-level EV.
So mini Lamborghini, I'm picturing this like tiny, sleek electric speedster.
It's not quite a sports car, but it does have a certain sporty flair to it. And for the price, you get a 10.1-inch rotating infotainment screen, a 5-door hatchback design. It's got a pretty spacious interior. Plus, you get a decent driving range, fast charging capabilities, and a good set of safety features. It's a compelling package for sure.
So they're not skimping on the features to hit that low price point.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how Tesla and all the other big players are going to respond to this. I mean, I read that Ford's CEO, Jim Farley, is actually pretty worried about the rise of these Chinese EV companies, like BYD.
Yeah, I think that raises a really important question. Can these legacy car manufacturers adapt quickly enough? I mean, Ford is they're developing a low-cost EV platform to compete, but BYD's aggressive pricing is definitely a wake-up call for the entire industry.
And BYD is not just, playing in the affordable car arena. They have their sights set on that high-end market too,
Sure.
right? I mean, they've got that Yang Wang U9 supercar and some impressive SUVs like the Song L, which I think is going head-to-head with Tesla's Model Y.
Yeah, BYD is playing a really smart game here. They're covering the spectrum from, budget-conscious buyers to those who are looking for luxury and performance. And they're constantly innovating, too. They just unveiled this new suspension technology that supposedly makes for incredibly smooth rides, even on rough roads. Plus, they're integrating LiDAR sensors, which use lasers to create a 3D map of the car's surroundings for, even more advanced driver assistance systems.
Wow, it sounds like they're really pushing the envelope. Meanwhile, Tesla's not standing still either. They're building a new gigafactory in Mexico and expanding mega pack production in Shanghai. This battle for EV dominance is getting really interesting.
Yeah, and I think this is where it gets really interesting. It's not just a two-horse race either. You've got these established players like Volkswagen and General Motors making big moves, and then you have this whole wave of EV startups entering the market. It's a really dynamic landscape that's constantly in flux. But one of BYD's key advantages is their vertical integration.
Okay, let's unpack this a little bit. What does vertical integration mean in this context? And why is this such a big deal for BYD?
Well, essentially, BYD controls almost every part of their production process. They source raw materials, they manufacture the batteries and other components, they assemble the vehicles, and they even handle recycling. That level of control gives them amazing cost control and flexibility.
So they're not reliant on this complex web of external suppliers. That must be a huge advantage,
Yeah.
especially in a market where supply chains can be so volatile.
Exactly. It's like a well-oiled machine. And a key part of that vertical integration is their battery division, FinDreams, which is a major player in the global EV battery market. They're especially known for their expertise in LFP batteries, or lithium iron phosphate batteries.
I've been hearing a lot about LFP batteries lately. What's the big deal with them? Are they really that much better than the lithium-ion batteries we're used to seeing in most EVs?
Well, LFP batteries have some distinct advantages. First, they're incredibly affordable to produce, which is a huge factor in making EVs more accessible. They're also more environmentally friendly. because they don't use cobalt, which is a material that's often sourced unethically. And perhaps most importantly, they're incredibly stable and safe. They're much less prone to overheating and thermal runaway, which can lead to fires.
Right. I remember seeing those videos of BYD's Blade battery,
Hmm.
which uses LFP technology going through these extreme safety tests. I mean, they were literally stabbing it with nails and even setting it on fire. Yeah. And it held up remarkably well.
Yeah, those tests were designed to simulate the worst-case scenarios. And the Blade battery really passed with flying colors. It's a testament to the safety and reliability of LFP technology.
So BYD is betting big on LFP batteries, and it seems to be paying off. But their impact goes beyond just cars, right? What about their electric buses? I hear they're making a real difference in public transportation around the world.
Yeah, BYD is actually a leader in electrifying public transportation. Their electric buses are operating in over 400 cities worldwide, from major metropolises to smaller towns. This is huge for reducing CO2 emissions and promoting the use of public transport. They're not just making EVs for individuals, they're helping cities transition to a more sustainable future.
That's really impressive. And behind this success story is a remarkable individual, Wang Chuanfu, BYD's CEO. He's been called a visionary, a relentless innovator, even China's Elon Musk. But I get the feeling he's a very different kind of leader.
Yeah, Wen Chuanfu is a fascinating figure. He's an engineer at heart, with this relentless focus on innovation and cost-cutting. Even Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's right-hand man, has praised Wang's engineering brilliance and his executive skills.
Wow, high praise indeed. And his personal story is pretty incredible, too. He grew up as an orphan and worked his way up to build a company that's now challenging the giants of the automotive industry.
Yeah.
That takes a certain kind of drive and determination.
It definitely does. There's a sense that Wang Chuanfu is on a mission to make EVs accessible to everyone, not just the wealthy elite. And his background might be a driving force behind that mission.
That's an inspiring story. From humble beginnings to leading a company that surpassed Tesla in China, the world's most competitive EV market. It makes you wonder, what's next for BYD? Can they maintain this momentum, or will they hit some roadblocks?
That's the million-dollar question, right? The EV landscape is constantly changing, with these new technologies and competitors emerging all the time. But BYD does have a few key advantages that could help them stay ahead. You know, their vertical integration gives them incredible control over their supply chain and costs, and their focus on LFP batteries, which are cheaper and safer, could really be a game changer in the long run.
So it sounds like they've laid a strong foundation for success. But they're also facing some serious challenges, right? I mean, the global market is very different from the Chinese market. They're going to need to adapt their strategy and products to succeed in, Europe, North America, and other regions.
You're absolutely right. Global expansion is never easy, especially in the automotive industry, which is heavily regulated and fiercely competitive. They'll also need to keep innovating and stay ahead of that technology curve. Tesla, Volkswagen, and others are investing heavily in areas like autonomous driving, solid-state batteries, and connected car technologies.
So it's a race to the future. And BYD seems to be in the fast lane. But will they be able to stay ahead of the pack? Well, that's what we're going to be exploring in the next part of our deep dive into BYD.
I'm looking forward to it. This is a company that's really pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the EV world.
Absolutely. BYD is a company that's worth watching. They're innovative, they're ambitious, and they're not afraid to challenge the status quo. They're a force to be reckoned with in the EV market. And they're a company that's shaping the future of transportation. But before we move on, I want to take a closer look at one of the most important aspects of any car, its design.
Yeah, design is absolutely crucial, especially in the EV market. It's not just about aesthetics. It's about creating a car that's functional, efficient, and really appealing to consumers. And BYD has been making some bold moves in the design department.
Their cars are sleek, modern, and eye-catching. They're not afraid to experiment with new ideas. And they're not just focusing on the exterior either. They're paying attention to the interior design as well. Their cabins are spacious, comfortable, and packed with technology.
Yeah, they're really creating this holistic driving experience that's both stylish and practical.
And they're doing it all while keeping affordability in mind. They're proving that you don't have to spend a fortune to get a well-designed EV.
That's a key point. BYD is kind of democratizing good design. They're making it accessible to a much wider audience.
Okay, so we've talked about BYD's design philosophy, but let's zoom in on one of their most popular models.
Yeah.
The Seagull. The Seagull is a great example of BYD's design prowess. It's this small, affordable hatchback that's both stylish and practical.
Yeah, it's got this really distinctive look with sharp lines and kind of a sporty stance, and it's packed with features too. It has a large touchscreen infotainment system, a digital instrument cluster, and a host of advanced safety features.
It's a very well-equipped car for its price point.
And it has a decent range too. It can travel up to 252 miles on a single charge. That's more than enough for most daily commutes. And it's fast charging capable, so you can top up the battery pretty quickly if you need to.
The Seagull is a great all-around car. It's affordable, it's stylish, it's practical, and it's fun to drive. And it's a big hit in China. It's one of BYD's best-selling models. It's clear that BYD has struck a chord with the Seagull. They've created a car that appeals to a wide range of consumers.
Right. And BYD also has a number of other impressive models in its lineup, like the Dolphin, the Han, and the Tang.
They have a car for every need and budget.
Yeah.
The Dolphin is another affordable hatchback that's perfect for city driving.
Yeah, while the Han is a stylish and luxurious sedan that rivals the Tesla Model 3. And the Tang is a spacious and capable SUV that's perfect for families.
It's amazing how they've been able to cover such a wide spectrum of the market in such a short amount of time.
Right.
And they're constantly adding new models to their lineup.
Yeah, their product development pipeline is very impressive. They're not resting on their laurels. They're constantly innovating and pushing the boundaries. And I think this brings us to another interesting aspect of BYD's approach, their marketing strategy.
They've taken a very different approach from Tesla, haven't they? I mean, Tesla relied heavily on word of mouth and social media buzz, while BYD seems to be using more traditional methods like television advertising and dealership promotions.
Yeah, and they've also been very active in sponsoring sporting events and cultural activities.
So they're trying to build brand awareness on multiple fronts. And it seems to be working. Their brand recognition is growing rapidly,
Yeah.
both in China and around the world.
Yeah, they're becoming a household name and fast. Which brings us to another crucial aspect of their success, customer service.
Customer service that's so important in the car industry, especially when you're dealing with a new technology like EVs. People might have questions or concerns, and they need to know that there's someone there to help them.
Absolutely. And BYD seems to be taking customer service very seriously. They've invested heavily in training their dealership staff and in developing online resources for customers.
It sounds like they're really trying to make the ownership experience as smooth and hassle-free as possible. And they're actively soliciting feedback from customers and using that feedback to improve their products and services.
Yeah, that's a smart move. It shows that they're listening to their customers and that they're committed to continuous improvement.
So it's not just about building great cars, it's about building lasting relationships with customers. I think that's a key part of their long-term success.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about BYD's impressive rise, their innovative technology, their commitment to safety and sustainability, their global impact, their rivalry with Tesla, and their vision for the future of transportation. But before we move on, I want to take a closer look at one of the things that sets BYD apart from other EV makers, their commitment to safety.
That's a great point. Safety is a top priority for them, and they've made significant investments in developing advanced safety features for their vehicles.
Their Blade battery, which we've already discussed, is a prime example of their commitment to safety. It's one of the safest EV batteries on the market.
Absolutely. And they're not just focused on battery safety, they're also incorporating a wide range of other safety features into their vehicles, like advanced driver assistance systems, collision avoidance systems, and lane departure warnings.
They're really using technology to make their vehicles as safe as possible. Right. And they're not just relying on technology, they're also conducting rigorous safety testing to ensure that their vehicles meet the highest standards.
So they're taking a multi-layered approach to safety. And that's something that I think consumers really appreciate. People want to know that they're buying a car that's going to protect them and their families.
Absolutely. Safety is a major selling point for any car, especially an EV.
Okay, so we've talked about BYD's commitment to safety, but let's shift gears a bit and talk about their environmental initiatives. They're clearly a company that's focused on sustainability.
Yeah, sustainability is at the core of everything they do. They believe that EVs are essential for creating a cleaner, healthier future for our planet.
And they're walking the walk. They're using renewable energy to power their factories. They're recycling materials whenever possible. And they're designing their vehicles to be as energy efficient as possible.
It's a holistic approach to sustainability.
It is.
And they're setting a great example for other companies to follow. And they're not just focused on their own operations, they're also working to promote sustainability throughout their supply chain.
They're working with their suppliers to reduce their environmental impact.
Yeah.
and to adopt sustainable practices.
It's a really comprehensive approach to sustainability, and it's something that I think consumers really appreciate. People are increasingly aware of the environmental impact of their choices, and they're looking for companies that are doing their part to protect the planet.
Okay, so we've talked about BYD's commitment to safety and their environmental initiatives.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up this part of the deep dive, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, the rivalry between BYD and Tesla.
Yeah, that's a rivalry that's captivating the entire EV industry, and it's a rivalry that's only going to intensify in the years to come.
Right. Both companies are innovative, ambitious, and determined to win. But they also have very different approaches.
Exactly. Tesla is the disruptor. They're the company that shook up the automotive industry and proved that EVs could be cool, stylish, and high-performing.
While BYD is the challenger, they're the company that's making EVs more affordable and accessible to a wider audience.
And they're both succeeding in their own ways. Tesla is still the leader in terms of technology and brand recognition, but BYD is catching up fast, and they're putting real pressure on Tesla, especially in the Chinese market.
It's a fascinating dynamic to watch, and it's ultimately good for consumers. Competition drives innovation, it lowers prices, and improves quality.
Absolutely. The rivalry between BYD and Tesla is a win-win for everyone who's interested in the future of transportation.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. We've talked about BYD's impressive rise, their innovative technology, their focus on affordability, their commitment to safety and sustainability, their global ambitions, and their rivalry with Tesla. But this is just the beginning. In the next part, we'll delve even deeper into BYD's strategy, their challenges, and their vision for the future of transportation.
We'll explore how they're navigating the complex global market, the key technologies they're investing in, and the impact they're having on the automotive industry as a whole. It's going to be a fascinating journey.
It certainly is. BYD is a company that's changing the game, and we're just getting started. So buckle up and stay tuned for the next part of our deep dive.
I'm excited to continue this exploration. BYD is a company that's full of surprises.
Absolutely. They're a company that's worth paying attention to. They're innovative, they're ambitious, and they're not afraid to challenge the status quo. They're a force to be reckoned with in the EV market. And they're a company that's shaping the future of transportation. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to take a closer look at one of the most fascinating aspects of BYD, their battery technology.
Yeah, their battery technology is definitely a key part of their success. They've been developing and refining their battery technology for over 2 decades, and they've become a global leader in this field.
And they've got a unique approach, right? They're not just focused on lithium-ion batteries. They're also exploring other battery chemistries, like lithium iron phosphate, LFP batteries.
That's right. LFP batteries have a number of advantages over traditional lithium-ion batteries. They're more stable, they're less prone to overheating, and they're more environmentally friendly
Okay.
because they don't use cobalt.
And BYD has been a pioneer in the development of LFP batteries. They've even developed their own proprietary LFP battery technology called the Blade battery. The Blade battery is a game changer.
It's incredibly safe, it's very energy dense, and it's very cost effective.
And it's been getting a lot of attention lately because of its impressive safety performance. There have been a number of videos circulating online showing the Blade battery being subjected to these extreme tests, like nail penetration and even being set on fire, and it's held up remarkably well.
Yeah, those tests were designed to simulate the worst possible scenarios, and the Blade battery passed with flying colors. It's a testament to the robustness and safety of their battery technology.
And it's not just about safety. The Blade battery also offers excellent performance. It has a long lifespan, it can be charged and discharged quickly, and it can operate in a wide range of temperatures.
It's a truly impressive piece of technology, and it's a key part of BYD's strategy to make EVs more affordable and accessible to a wider audience.
Okay, so we've talked about the Blade battery, but BYD is also investing heavily in the development of solid-state battery technology.
Right, solid-state batteries are considered to be the next big thing in battery technology. They have the potential to offer even greater energy density, faster charging times, and improved safety compared to current lithium-ion batteries.
But solid-state battery technology is still in its early stages of development. There are a number of technical challenges that need to be overcome before it can be mass-produced.
That's true. But BYD is one of the companies at the forefront of this research and development. They've already made significant progress in developing solid-state battery technology, and they're confident that they'll be able to bring it to market in the near future.
So it's an exciting time to be following the development of battery technology.
Mm.
And BYD is definitely a company to watch in this space.
Absolutely. Their expertise in battery technology is a key differentiator for them in the EV market, and it's going to play a major role in their future success.
Okay, so we've talked about BYD's battery technology, but let's shift gears a bit and talk about their manufacturing capabilities.
Mm.
BYD has a massive manufacturing footprint both in China and around the world.
Yeah, their manufacturing capabilities are truly impressive. They have a number of state-of-the-art factories that are capable of producing a wide range of EVs, from small city cars to large buses.
And they're constantly expanding their manufacturing capacity. They've recently announced plans to build new factories in several countries, including Thailand and Brazil.
Yeah, their global expansion plans are ambitious, but they're also necessary if they want to meet the growing demand for EVs around the world.
And they're not just focused on building factories. They're also investing heavily in research and development. They have a large team of engineers and scientists who are constantly working to improve their products and develop new technologies.
Yeah, their commitment to innovation is impressive, and it's a key part of their success.
Okay, so we've talked about BYD's battery technology, their manufacturing capabilities, and their commitment to innovation. But let's shift gears again and talk about their sustainability initiative.
Sustainability is a core part of BYD's mission. They're committed to reducing their environmental impact and promoting sustainable transportation.
And they're taking a number of steps to achieve these goals. They're using renewable energy to power their factories, they're recycling materials whenever possible, and they're designing their vehicles to be as energy efficient as possible.
Their commitment to sustainability is commendable, and it's a key part of their appeal to consumers who are looking for environmentally friendly transportation options.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about BYD's impressive rise, their innovative technology, their ambitious expansion plans, their intense rivalry with Tesla, the power of vertical integration, their battery technology, their manufacturing capabilities, their commitment to innovation, and their sustainability initiatives.
It's clear that BYD is a company that's doing a lot of things right, and they're a company that's worth paying attention to.
Absolutely. They're a force to be reckoned with in the EV market, and they're a company that's playing a major role in shaping the future of transportation.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about BYD's impressive rise, their innovative technology, their ambitious expansion plans, their intense rivalry with Tesla, the power of vertical integration, their battery technology, their manufacturing capabilities, their commitment to innovation, and their sustainability initiatives. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's important to address one more question. What does BYD's success mean for the future of the EV market?
That's a great question, and I think there are a few key takeaways.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, BYD's success is a clear indication that the EV market is maturing. It's no longer just a niche market for early adopters. It's becoming a mainstream market, and that's attracting more and more players.
Right. And with more players comes more competition. And competition is good for consumers. It drives innovation, it lowers prices, and it improves quality.
Exactly. BYD's success is also a sign that Chinese companies are becoming major players in the global automotive industry. They're no longer just content to be low-cost manufacturers. They're developing their own brands, their own technologies, and their own global ambitions.
And that's a trend that's likely to continue. Chinese companies have a number of advantages, including access to a large domestic market, a strong manufacturing base, and a government that's supportive of the EV industry.
So it's an exciting time to be following the EV market, and BYD is definitely a company that's at the forefront of this transformation.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about BYD's impressive rise, their innovative technology, their ambitious expansion plans, their intense rivalry with Tesla, the power of vertical integration, their battery technology, their manufacturing capabilities, their commitment to innovation, their sustainability initiatives, and what their success means for the future of the EV market. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listener with one final thought.
Please do share.
BYD's success is a reminder that anything is possible. They started as a small battery maker in China, and now they're one of the leading EV companies in the world.
It's a truly inspiring story.
It is, and it's a story that should give us all hope for the future. If BYD can achieve such remarkable success, then anything is possible.
I couldn't agree more. BYD's story is a testament to the power of human ingenuity, determination, and innovation. And it's a story that should inspire us all to dream big and to never give up on our goals.
Well said. Okay, so that wraps up our deep dive into BYD. I hope you enjoyed this exploration of one of the most fascinating companies in the EV market.
It was a pleasure joining you on this journey, and I hope our listeners learned something new and exciting today.
Me too. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to like this episode and leave a comment. We love hearing from our listeners. And until next time, keep on learning, keep on exploring, and keep on building your dreams.
Well said. And until next time, keep on learning, keep on exploring, and keep on building your dreams. And don't forget to check out BYD.
Build your dream. BYD. That's a good one. Okay, folks, until next time.
They really are a company to watch.
You know what really strikes me about BYD is their commitment to safety. They're not just focused on performance and speed, they're equally focused on making sure that their cars are safe. For drivers, for passengers, even for pedestrians.
Yeah, that's true. They've invested a lot in developing these cutting-edge safety features for their vehicles.
Yeah, their Blade battery is a perfect example. We talked about it a bit, but it's worth emphasizing its exceptional safety record.
It's a testament to BYD's dedication to engineering excellence. I mean, it really is one of the safest EV batteries out there.
And it's not just the battery, right? They've incorporated a whole range of other safety features. Like you said, the advanced driver assistance systems, collision avoidance systems, lane departure warnings.
Yeah, they're really using technology to its fullest to make their vehicles as safe as possible.
And they don't just stop there. They also conduct these rigorous safety tests to ensure that their vehicles meet the highest possible standards.
Yeah, they're not messing around when it comes to safety. There's no compromise there.
And I think that's a huge selling point for consumers. Knowing that they're buying a car that really puts safety first for everyone inside and outside the vehicle.
Absolutely. Safety is paramount, especially when we're talking about EVs, which are still, perceived as this new and unproven technology by some people.
Right. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about their environmental initiatives. BYD is clearly a company that's committed to sustainability.
Sustainability is really baked into their DNA, I think. They genuinely believe that EVs are a key part of creating a cleaner and healthier planet.
And they're not just talking the talk either. They're walking the walk. They're using renewable energy to power their factories. They recycle materials whenever possible. And they design their vehicles to be super energy efficient.
Their approach to sustainability is really something to admire. They're setting a high bar for the rest of the industry.
And it goes beyond their own operations too, right? I mean, they're actively promoting sustainability throughout their entire supply chain.
Exactly. They're working with their suppliers to minimize their environmental impact and to adopt more sustainable practices.
So it's a really holistic approach, and I think it resonates with consumers who are increasingly, conscious of the environmental footprint of their choices.
Absolutely. People are looking for brands that align with their values, and BYD's dedication to sustainability is a big part of their appeal.
Okay, so let's come back to that rivalry between BYD and Tesla. We touched on it earlier, but it's a battle that's capturing the imagination of the entire EV world.
It's a rivalry that's only going to heat up in the years to come, for sure.
I mean, both companies are incredibly driven and innovative and determined to win. But they also have these very different approaches.
Tesla's the disruptor, right? They're the ones who really shook things up. They proved that EVs could be cool and desirable and high-performing.
While BYD is more like the challenger, they're the ones who are making EVs affordable and accessible to a much wider audience.
And they're both finding success, but in different ways. Tesla still has the edge in terms of technology and brand recognition. But BYD is catching up quickly, especially in China. They're really putting the pressure on Tesla.
It's such a fascinating dynamic to watch. And at the end of the day, it's good for consumers, right? Competition drives innovation, it drives down prices, and it leads to better products.
Couldn't agree more. The BYD-Tesla rivalry is a win-win for everyone who cares about the future of transportation.
Okay, so we've talked about BYD's impressive rise to the top, their commitment to safety and sustainability, their global ambitions, and this rivalry with Tesla. But there's one element that we haven't really dug into yet, their vertical integration strategy.
Yes, vertical integration. It's a crucial part of their success. BYD essentially controls almost every aspect of their production process.
Okay, so break that down for us. What does that mean in practice?
So they source their own raw materials, they manufacture their own batteries and other components, they assemble the vehicles themselves, and they even handle the recycling.
Wow, so it's like they've built this completely self-contained ecosystem.
Yeah.
That must give them a huge advantage over competitors who are relying on all these different external suppliers.
Exactly. It gives them this incredible control over costs, over production timelines, over the overall quality. It's really hard to replicate.
And it makes them more agile too, right? They can adapt to changes in the market more quickly.
Absolutely. They can adjust production to meet demand or to deal with supply chain disruptions much more easily than a company that's relying on a bunch of different suppliers.
So vertical integration is really about flexibility and resilience, two qualities that are essential in today's world.
For sure. And you can see this really clearly in their battery division, FinDreams, which is a major player in the global EV battery market.
We talked about FinDreams a bit earlier, but remind us what makes them so special.
Well, they're known for their cutting-edge technology and their commitment to sustainability. And they've been instrumental in popularizing LFP batteries, which are becoming increasingly popular in the EV market.
Right. LFP batteries, which stands for lithium iron phosphate batteries.
Exactly. These batteries are more affordable, they're more stable, and they're more environmentally friendly because they don't use cobalt.
And BYD has really capitalized on FinDreams' expertise to create some of the most reliable and safest EV batteries out there.
Absolutely, their Blade battery is a perfect example of that. It's a testament to their innovation in the LFP space.
It's amazing how they've been able to leverage their battery division to gain a competitive advantage in the EV market.
It's a really smart strategy, and it shows that they were thinking ahead.
So they're not just reacting to the market, they're actively shaping it.
Exactly, they're controlling their own destiny.
Okay, so we've talked about their vertical integration, their battery division, and their focus on LFP batteries. Now let's zoom out a bit and talk about their global impact. We know they're dominant in China, but how are they doing in other parts of the world?
They're making significant progress in a number of key markets. Europe is showing a lot of interest. Southeast Asia, Latin America, their affordable EVs and their reputation for quality and innovation are attracting buyers.
And they're not just exporting cars, they're actually setting up local factories and forming partnerships in these regions.
Right. It's a very strategic approach to global expansion. They're not just looking for quick wins. They're building a sustainable global presence.
And their commitment to public transportation is also really impressive. Their electric buses are operating in over 400 cities worldwide, helping to reduce emissions and improve air quality.
They're not just focused on passenger vehicles. They're thinking about the entire transportation ecosystem.
They're looking at the big picture, and that's what makes them so interesting to watch.
Absolutely. They're not just thinking about the present, they're thinking about the future of mobility.
Okay, so let's turn our attention now to the man behind BYD, their CEO, Wang Chuanfu.
Wang Quanfu is a remarkable leader, a true visionary, an incredible engineer, and a relentless innovator.
He's often compared to Elon Musk. But I get the sense that he's a very different type of leader.
I agree. While Musk is known for his showmanship and his focus on these really groundbreaking technologies, Wang Quanfu is much more reserved and pragmatic.
He's focused on building a solid and sustainable business based on sound engineering principles.
And his leadership is clearly very effective. BYD has achieved extraordinary success under his guidance.
It's not just about technical expertise either. He seems to have a very deep understanding of the market and a keen sense of what consumers want.
He combines that technical brilliance with a sharp business mind, and that's how he's able to create products that are both innovative and affordable.
And his commitment to sustainability is also very clear. He believes that EVs are essential for the health of our planet.
It's a core part of his vision for BYD, and it's something that resonates with a lot of consumers.
So Wang Chuanfu's leadership is impressive, but his personal journey is equally inspiring.
Oh, absolutely. His story is incredible. He started his career as a researcher at a government-run battery factory, and in his mid-20s, he founded BYD with a small loan from his family.
That's a classic entrepreneur story.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about vision and determination and a willingness to take risks.
And those risks have paid off in a big way. BYD has gone from a small startup to a global giant, and Wang Chuanfu has become one of China's most successful entrepreneurs.
It's a story that shows that with passion and hard work and a bit of luck, anything is possible.
It's an inspiration for anyone who has a dream, no matter how big or how audacious it might seem. It's pretty amazing to see how they've gone from, a small battery company to this global powerhouse.
Yeah, and they're not slowing down either. In fact, they seem to be doubling down on their global expansion plans. We talked about this a bit earlier, but I think it's worth exploring in a little more detail.
Definitely, BYD's global ambitions are a key part of their strategy. They've already made some serious inroads into a few major markets like Europe, Southeast Asia, Latin America. And they're not just shipping cars over there, they're actually building factories and forming partnerships.
It's a pretty bold move, especially when you consider how complex the global automotive market is. I mean, each region has its own regulations, its own consumer preferences, its own competitive landscape. How are they navigating all of that?
I think one of BYD's biggest strengths is their ability to adapt. They're not trying to use a one-size-fits-all approach. They're really tailoring their products and their strategies to the specific needs of each market.
Could you give us an example?
Sure, in Europe, for instance, they're really focusing on models that meet the region's pretty strict emissions standards and safety regulations. They're also partnering with local distributors and service providers to make sure they have a strong support network for their customers.
And what about Southeast Asia and Latin America?
Well, in those regions, affordability is a huge factor. So BYD is using their expertise in building cost-effective EVs to offer really competitive prices. They're also focusing on models that are well-suited to the climate and the driving conditions in those regions.
So they're really doing their research and adapting their approach accordingly.
They're definitely not just throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks. It's a very strategic and well-thought-out expansion plan.
It's a long game they're playing. Building a global brand takes time and investment and patience.
Exactly. But BYD seems to be committed to the long game. They're not just chasing quick profits. They're really trying to build something that will last.
And their success in China gives them a pretty solid foundation to build on.
Oh, absolutely. Their dominance in the Chinese market, which is the world's biggest EV market, gives them a ton of experience, economies of scale, a proven track record.
But they're also facing some serious challenges, right? The global automotive market is incredibly competitive. There are some big players out there. Tesla, Volkswagen, General Motors, they're all fighting for market share.
That's true. The competition is definitely fierce, and BYD is going to have to keep innovating and finding ways to differentiate themselves if they want to stay ahead. They'll also need to manage their global supply chain really carefully and navigate all these different regulatory environments.
So it's not going to be easy, but it's definitely an exciting story to follow.
For sure, BYD is a company that's pushing the limits of what's possible in the EV world, and their global ambitions are proof of their confidence and determination.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into BYD. We've talked about their history, their technology, their strategy, their challenges, their vision for the future. But before we wrap up, I want to bring it back to our listener.
What are the key takeaways you want our listeners to remember?
I think the biggest takeaway is that BYD is a company that's worth paying attention to. They're a force to be reckoned with in the EV world. They're innovative, they're ambitious, they're not afraid to challenge the status quo.
I completely agree. They're a company that's shaping the future of transportation as we know it.
And their story is a really inspiring example of what's possible. They started as a small battery maker, and now they're a global leader in the EV market.
It really shows the power of hard work and dedication and a clear vision.
Absolutely. So if you're interested in the future of transportation or the rise of Chinese companies on the global stage or even just a great business story, BYD is a company you should be watching.
And who knows, maybe one day you'll be building your own dream with a BYD.
Build your dream, BYD. That's it for our deep dive into BYD. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a like and leave a comment. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep building your dreams.
See you next time.